Correct. Most vintage decks start with most of the power, right? Like, you just, like, play one of each of the boxes, and the Black Lotus. I guess they don't all play the, like, Recall and Time Walk, but most of them do, because, like, those cards are just busted. Alright, what does this hand do? This hand plays Time Walk on one, or possibly Kataki, and then Campbell on two. Seems fine. It's a touch awkward that we don't have a black or white mock, so we can't just Campbell on one. What they have going on. I can auto pass. I was looking at my hand. Morning, Squishy. This is in fact a combo. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. The main deck Katakis are obviously there for being hateful towards other things. Here certainly. Let's do the vintage again. Those that are newer to vintage, in Legacy, Preordain means they're generally a combo deck. In vintage, Preordain means what I'm searching for. In vintage, Preordain means that they're just playing a blue deck because all of the other good cantrips are restricted in this format. Well, that's fucking rude. This down on human and pass the turn. I see the frog. You better Twitch.tv isn't a channel thing. Better Twitch.tv is Better Twitch.tv is an individual thing. You have to install Better Twitch.tv as an extension on your computer. Man, this maybe I should have maybe I should have put this on Spirit. This Kataki would have been real good. I assume this is getting forced. Yeah. Yeah, I probably should put this on Spirit. A little awkward that they've got this out here, and then we drew our third copy of our these. Land. It's unfortunate. Here's a bad die roll to lose. And a lot better off on the play since they had their one of shells. The way this card's restricted in this format for those who are unfamiliar. So they do in fact only have one of them. X is 3, engineer explosive, sure. Tilt. Weird control deck on the opponent's side of the table. I guess I'm just gonna go ahead and do this. And then, oh, this is sweet. I was like, why is there a Caracas in here? This is legendary. Let's Time Walk. This is an Explorer. And then we can play Gamble with Caracas up. Man, I got kids. They wake up screaming whenever they want. Declan O'Clock, man, let me tell you. God, these lands on Magic Online are miserable. Alright, here's my Campbell and my Caracas. Your move. Let's see, if we win this game, it's gonna be pretty impressive, right? Like, we drew 3 of our 6 zero-cost things for this Chalice. Also on the draw. Not quite sure what my opponent's doing yet. It looks like they're playing some kind of fair deck. I think these 2 cards mean they're playing a fair deck. Yeah, has their 1 Monastery Mentor. The good news is, they're gonna have to battle through this to use their mentor at least. So we got that going for us. This is also super awkward with their mentor. Can you just try more creatures, please? That is technically what I asked for, deck. God bless. Technically what I asked for. Our draw hasn't really worked out, right? Like, this is the only... So we kept this, and then mana. And then, like, this is the first non-piece of mana we've drawn this game. You know you have to be specific, right? The person that's manually shuffling the decks on Magic Online is just like, Hoagland asked for a non-land, huh? Alright, I got you. Right? I was gonna say I'm not even really sure like what constitutes a good draw at this point, but I think this certainly constitutes a good draw. Oh wait, I can't undo mana from the City of Brass. Oh, I guess I'm committed to passing this now. If they have a force, I should have done this during their upkeep. Because now this and the basic line would have been tapped too. But is what it is. I guess not doing this during their upkeep means that they have 1 less prowess token trigger, so I guess that's reasonable. Like, they can attack. Yeah, you can't undo a City of Brass because there was a trigger involved. You can undo a Lotus Petal, you can undo a Sibian Spirit Guide, an Elvish Spirit Guide, but you can't undo a City of Brass. Those wondering why we use the City of Brass instead of Ancient Ziggurat. Ancient Ziggurat only makes mana for creatures. Hey, opponent, you gotta kill me without casting 4 more spells. Honestly, that might be difficult. I suppose they might have, like, Plow or something, and they could, like, Plow the Campbell EOT, and I bounce it, and then they untap and kill me by, like, storming off, essentially. That's technically not a land as well, I suppose. I guess I could, like, start attacking with this Campbell, and then, like, Caracas it and recast it, and then if they blow up this Engineered Explosives in response, like, I'm not super upset with that, because I could just, like, cast this other one out of my hand. So maybe I made a small mistake here by not pressuring with this, because this kills this, and, like, then they're going to be losing these monk tokens. Doesn't seem unreasonable. Maybe it's worth waiting for this Noble Hierarch for here. Yeah, so I think starting next turn, because this will be a 3-4 when it swings, I want to start pressuring with the Campbell. Alright, down to 5. I assume this is getting a plow. Assume this is getting a plow. Up in the background. And so they're going to plow me. They'll go to 3, but then they're going to attack for a bunch, but I'll get to play another Campbell out next turn. Oh, it's blue instant only. That's great. Oh, repeal. Sure. Next turn, they're going to repeal me. That's a pretty good one. That's a pretty good one. Sounds pretty wonderful. Have a 3/2 first striker. And then that repeal's gonna be one of their last spells here. And I am going to make sure we Caracas the Campbell when they repeal it, and the reason for that is repeal won't resolve if I Caracas the Campbell, and then they won't get to draw the card from it. This makes their engineered explosives marginally more appealing, because like they could crack it and like kill the Thalia, I suppose. I'm like, man, we're like this, and this is why this card seems sweet, right? Like we are in this game, and our draw has been abysmal, and we are like playing a real game here. Just gonna play Berserker. All right, so I think I'm just gonna attack with this here. I'm gonna attack with this, like apply some pressure. I think. I guess they could repeal here in response. Oh, okay. Yeah, sure. Get your cantrips in while the getting's good. Cannot be countered. If they repeal at end step here, they are going to have a turn to, like, kind of have free reign on their side of the table to cast whatever they want. That being said, like, they only have 2 cards in hand, one of which is repeal. And, like, if they go to repeal, I'm going to bounce my thing. So, this actually works out well for us, the way they traded everything off, because, the way they traded things off, this actually means they don't have a bunch of tokens in place, so we're less likely to die next turn. We're not, like, not guaranteed to die, but, like, we're less likely to die. And again, I Caracased the Campbell there because repeal draws a card, so by returning the Campbell to my hand, the repeal is actually countered upon resolution, so they don't get to draw a card with it. Yep. Alright, let's see how many cantrips they get to play off here. They have to be a little bit conservative with how they attack here because this Thalia is lethal, so they have to leave back probably 2 guys realistically since they've seen Path to Exile. Stays top, sure. Top and library is a little redundant, so it doesn't really matter. I guess they could draw and play with top every turn, but like once Campbell's down, that's like not an option for them. I'm at a good healthy 25 here, so like trading my Campbell for 3 monk tokens last turn was just like excellent. Okay. This is cute. This is the very first game we've played with it. Hopefully our opponent takes as long as they're taking this game every game, because they've taken 10 minutes, which means they're going to time out in the third game. We've drawn really poorly this game, and we're still kind of in the game. Like, I'm not actually sure who's ahead here right now. I don't think we're taking lethal just yet. Especially with the blockers that I have. Because, like, if they can't push lethal, they can't attack with all three of these. And then, like, once I get to untap with this Campbell, I get to, again, they can only play one thing while the Campbell's out, and they're not going to be able to generate a bunch of stuff for their other guys. So they're going to need to get these to, like, what, 13s for this to be relevant? And Cavern seems so good in this deck. Okay, Engineer Explosives, X is 1, so this can kill my... Can kill my Noble Hierarch, I suppose. Which means I have to jump block with the Thalia. That won't be lethal, so they can attack with all three things. And they might be able to kill me next turn. Last card here is top. This is why Monastery Mentor is restricted in this format, in case anyone was wondering. Just casual 27. 3 dudes. It's really unfortunate that they're able to do the Engineer Explosives there, because now I have to jump block with this. They wouldn't have been able to attack with these. They would have just, like, only been able to attack with 2 of them, and then I'd be in a great spot. I wouldn't be in a great spot, but in a better spot. Or we're one point off of this being lethal. So Noble Hierarch is a lethal draw here, actually. Got 3 Noble Hierarchs in our deck. Campbell. Oh. They have their Chalice on 0 again. If I play this out, they have exactly 9. You're blocking this. It's unfortunate. I mean, we're dead on board. The thing, we're dead on board. Oh, all right. Game 2. So we'll bring in the Staticaster. This is a Wasteland matchup. The Wasteland seem like they're probably for the fair decks. Itaki doesn't seem great here. They have like some artifacts, but I think I'd rather just Null Rod them, honestly. Containment Priest doesn't seem stellar. Path seems fine. They have the Mentor. They might have like Tinker in their deck too. There's like Leovold potentially as well. This looks good. Like I said, so like we lost that game, but I'm actually coming away like pretty impressed from that game with our deck. Like we drew 3 Campbells, all of which past the first were awkward. We drew 3 of our 6-0 drops, and our opponent played a Chalice on 0. And like if we would have drawn a Noble Hierarch that last turn, we would have killed our opponent with the Scab Clan Berserker. And like that's one of the difficult things to do when you're testing a deck, when you're testing a Magic deck, is like being objective with the results. Like if you're only measuring like game wins and game losses, like that skews some of your data, especially if you're not playing a really large sample of games. Like to get an objective measurement of like how good or bad a deck is from just purely looking at the results without thinking about what happened during the games, you really need a pretty large set of data for that to be a realistic measure. This hand Goes Ancient Ziggurat, Noble Hack. This is probably fine in this matchup. I don't think my opponent's a combo deck. They might be. Might be, I guess. See. Next turn, probably Null Rod. Crack you for 1. Let's see how many artifacts they play on their first turn. The fact that you have to click on this mana for creature spells every time is such a tilt. Oh, I can't Null Rod. I can Null Rod off of this and this, right? Do let me cast Null Rod. They play more than 1 artifact. I'm gonna Null Rod 10 out of 10. Repeal. Alright, sure. I guess I'm gonna play the Thalia then. I could just replay Double Hierarch and Wasteland them. Yeah, I'm gonna do that, actually. Do that. Keep them off their mana. You have this Null Rod to, like, mess with their mocks, so keeping them low on land seems appealing. A lot of these vintage decks are kind of greedy with their mana and don't play much of it. Next turn we can go Thalia plus Quasly Pride Mage. Forcing my Null Rod, sure. Forcing the Null Rod might mean I'm using Quasly Pride Mage as a Stone Rain next turn to destroy this Mox Jet. Try and keep them off of Jace mana, basically. Although I guess Thalia is similar, right? I just go like Thalia plus Pride Mage because Thalia makes all their spells cost 1 more. I didn't bring in the Stony Silence, did I? I did not. I borrowed in the 2 Null Rods and then boarded in the Stony Silence. Whoops. Oh, vintage. Alright, so just playing the Lotus out there is interesting. I just know I have Thalia. They know I have, like, Campbells and stuff in my deck. So... I'm gonna lead on this Pride Mage and see what happens. I'll follow up with Time Walk here. This might elicit a counterspell. That's why I'm leading on it. I think I'd rather have this happen than the... I think I'd rather have the Time Walk happen than have that happen. Well, I guess I should actually tap like this, right? Ideal. I feel like they have a counterspell here. Like they paused on this long enough that like they could have a force or something. Like a mana drain maybe. Mana drain would give them a lot of resources next turn. Are you asking about the Hex deck I played you with last night, K. Smith? I ended up going 2-1 in the couple of matches I played yesterday with it. I'm probably gonna start the stream with it today. Snapcaster. This is kind of funny. They're snapping the force here. I don't really mind the snap the force though, right? Because like I can attack for 4 with this Pride Mage and then shatter their Mox Jet. Which means this no longer makes mana because they're out of artifacts. So like they're gonna be down to just 1 landed play and I'm gonna get to play a Thalia next turn. Oh yeah, let's just destroy your land. Your land. Second land. Now they went from, like, having a bunch of mana last turn to only having 2 mana this turn. That's it for us. Alright, what do we got? Gosh, sure. Really hoping to draw some Moxen. This is the downside to not playing Thalia last turn, right? I guess I couldn't play Thalia and Skyplum Berserker. If they don't hit more fast mana this turn, I think we're going to be in a pretty good spot with the Thalia down next turn, and then they'll be pretty far behind on mana. They're at 13, so like this Thalia plus the Noble Hierarch is a pretty quick clock. That's a good draw, and she's resolving. I'm not going to burn this path in the Snapcaster Rage. I'd rather save it for like a Leovold or something else. Dark Confidant. Bobby! I'm a sucker for Dark Confidant. That's why that's another reason we played Rabelgen the other night. This deck's a sweet Dark Confidant deck, let me tell you what. Let me tell you what. Get in there, Bobby Boo. Bibbidi bobbidi boo. Bibbidi bobbidi boo, I choose you. Cast that Preordain. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, nice Preordain. Is it good for you? Is it good for you? Name soldier, right? You're a wizard, Bobby. I just want to path them now. Yeah, I'm going to path them now. This could give them a basic. I don't actually know if there's a basic. There's probably a basic in their deck. But I want to get in with Dark Confidant next turn to not miss anything. Hopefully we hit a Campbell or a Scribe Clan Berserker on our 2 draws here. Another Thalia. That's not exciting. This is not my brew. Just, you know, fair's fair. And now they're probably going to have a Monastery Mentor. I'm going to be really sad that I was aggressive with this Path to Exile. I think if we hit, like, any meaningful action there, we'd be reasonable. Like, kinda close. We're an aggressive deck, so Path is better than Swords to Plowshares. There's also a lot of vintage decks that don't have basics in them. I am, in fact, confirmed Dirty Net Decker. This is a random one-off from a smaller vintage tournament, I think in Japan. I don't actually know, so I'm not gonna confirm where the deck list came from. This definitely isn't a format staple. Somebody brewed this. That somebody was not me. I understand what I know and what I don't know. No idea. I actually haven't watched the Vintage Super League. Really didn't have a relevant interest in the format because there wasn't a way to accessibly play it. And now that we have leagues on Magic Online, well, they can't cast a Jace this turn at least, so we've got that going for us. We got, yep, sure. Oh, that's so annoying. Now this makes a mana, so they can kill it now. Tilt. Gab Clan Berserker. Mostly Pride Mage, sure. Alright, so if I play the Thalia first here, they can't counter my Quasily Pride Mage. I'm gonna play this out so I can still activate this next turn. Back for 2, which actually puts these 2 as lethal next turn, which is nice. Oh, did they tap too many mana? Yeah, that's funny. To be fair, Thalia plus Engineered Explosives is not an intuitive interaction. The noblest beats that exist. Beats by Dr. Noble. Alright, we get a game the third here. I'm going to cut this Containment Priest and bring in this last Null Rod-esque effect. Should have done that this last game. Go ahead and submit a Rooney here. This hand's pretty terrible. Easy mulligan here. We are beatdown deck as we're talking about here, so like Null Rod double path mana is not exciting. This hand's also pretty bad, right? It's like Time Walk with the same thing. This hand's not great, but like it's keep the bottom backup Thalia. Containment Priest doesn't stop tokens. It's not Hallowed Moonlight. Hallowed Moonlight stops tokens, so a lot of people that haven't played with Containment Priest before often think that. Great draw. Alright, force me, baby. Yeah, it is a sweet format. I agree. Look at the rest of my goodies. You know what I love? I love playing a good honest deck like this. I just get to auto pass. I don't have to like bluff Force of Will. Just like, alright, this is my stuff. This is what I got. Unfortunate this was a Ruby Mox, because it can't cast Quadsly Pride Mage off of that, but like, beggars aren't going to be choosers. This Strip Mine's probably like Dece plus here with the Thalia. I am not going to profess to know what is or isn't a vintage playable card. That sounds like something that is beyond my current skill set. Alright, I think I'm just going to cast this Time Walk here. Probably going to, like, Lotus plus Pride Mage next turn and then Strip Mine them. Probably the line. Wasteland would be a clutch draw. Tony Silence is, like, kind of mediocre here, right? Like, it turns off my Box Ruby. Attack with this. I cast this. Technically have enough mana to do both of these, right? But at the same time, I don't really want. Oh, I missed a point on the Exalted, right? Missed a point on the Exalted. Do I want to do both? I might want to do both. I guess doing both is fair. Let's do both. I think you're right that this has mostly done its job at this point. I'm gonna like draw a Scab Plan Berserker next turn and like be really sad that I played the Stony Silence, but also things that are likely to happen this game, be exactly 1 point short because I didn't play this Quadsly Pride Mage pre-combat. The old end step Brainstorm. Yeah, so, like, if I don't play the Stony Silence here, not only do I still have my Mox Ruby, but, like, I could have strip mined this island, which is, like, meaningful. Yeah, the not being able to strip mine here is actually pretty big, because, like, they're gonna have their one of Monastery Mentor here, and then I'm gonna be really sad. God, I gotta stop saying shit like that. Why do I say things like that? Why do I say things like they're gonna have their one of Monastery Mentor here? Yeah, so I think I should not listen to Twitch chat. I should just go with my gut on decisions like that. Yeah, so that was actually a pretty big mistake. So playing the Stony Silence was pretty terrible. God bless you, chat. I don't know. I'm the one doing the clicking. You're not getting a treat. It is not Halloween. There are no treats for you. Yeah, Declan just brought me this and said, treat? Treat? This is game 3. We drew pretty poorly in the first game. We're not out of this game yet by any means, right? We could certainly be in this game still. Good morning, monsters. How are you? Are we having a good morning? Yep, that's the one. A lot more relevant. Yeah, but like, okay, so here's the thing. If I take them off of a land, Thalia means their relevant artifacts aren't going to have a meaningful play next turn. And yeah, I should have just articulated my thought. Thalia means their meaningful artifacts aren't going to be relevant the next turn, most likely. And they're down to mana and can't Monastery Mentor. So like, this really wouldn't have let them accelerate their mana, because they're having to pay extra. Like, even these mana vaults would only be +1 mana for that turn. And, like, we would have just gotten to play Stony Sands the following turn. So that is why I think we were supposed to strip mine them there. Or hold up the strip mine at the very least. I can't even attack now. The opponent's down to 3 minutes because everyone that plays on Magic Online is miserably slow. That's not true. It's like 90% of people that play on Magic Online are miserably slow. Like, I'm sitting here talking about the things that I'm doing every turn, and like, I'm 10 minutes up on this opponent. I'm like, it hasn't been like one of those, like, as someone who's a father, like, I understand the, like, I'm 5 or 6 minutes up because, like, you had to take a break and run and go do something really quick, like, shit happens. Like, this person has just been, like, every little decision has taken them far too long. So, like, this has just been, like, a culmination of, like, small, like, every decision takes me 25 seconds. Like, these are the type of players that, like, you draw with in paper because, like, they're burning a lot of time off your shared clock every single round, and then eventually you just like draw in game 3. Yeah, we don't have the mana to cast a static caster at this point, so we're probably dead. And like I said, I cut a lot of the mentor hate from the board in this deck because, like, you know, Monastery Mentor is restricted now. So if I attack with this, does that do anything meaningful for me? I suppose they have to block with Monastery Mentor in order to kill this. I would highly recommend against drawing in paper. Not a pleasant experience. Don't draw matches of Magic. Play faster. Encourage your opponents to play faster. Honestly, there's a lot of things that are just, like, small benefits to playing Magic on Magic Online as opposed to playing in paper, and, like, not having to deal with slow players and, like, slow players getting punished for, like, either they lose the game if they're too slow. Like, it's such gas. That being said, like, they're probably gonna have more than enough time to kill me in 2 minutes here because Monastery Mentor's a really jacked up card. And like I said, I think, like, ultimately I need to look at this game and go, I think we drew pretty poorly, but the mistake that I made was you can't control how you draw, but we could control, like, how we sequence. And, like, if I would have put my opponent a turn behind on this Monastery Mentor, I would have cracked them for, so I made 2 mistakes. I could have hit them for an extra point of damage that one turn, and then I would have gotten an extra point of damage the following turn, and then I end up pressuring them a little bit better. Like, I get an extra turn or two. They did, yeah, and, like, they had their Monastery Mentor on exactly 3, and they drew both the recalls, but, like, again, you can't control how your opponent draws, and if you're not playing blue card selection, you can't control how you draw, so, like, sitting there and, like, complaining and bitching about, like, how you drew or how they drew, like, isn't going to have a meaningful impact on, like, your games of Magic and, like, make you a better player. You gotta think about, like, okay, what could I have done differently with the resources that I had? Like, we mulliganed to 5 that game, and then we drew a bunch of mana, but, like, this deck has a bunch of mana in it, right? Like, it's got 20 lands, plus 6 of these, plus 4 Noble Hierarchs, so, like, our deck is half mana. Yeah, okay, so with Lotus, they still play the Monastery Mentor if they had the Lotus, like they drew cards in between there. And if they play the Mentor with the Lotus, then they're not getting a Monastery Mentor trigger with the Lotus. Because we're an aggro deck, and giving your opponent life in an aggro deck is bad. Especially when people are like tinkering things like Blightsteel Colossus into play, giving them 11 life is terrible. Yeah, so like, they might have had it still that turn with the accelerants, but like, if they Mana Vault, the Mana Vault's actually going to tick away damage at them because they didn't have enough mana to untap it, so like, those points of damage would add up. And again, like, if you want to become better as a TCG player, the things you have to think about is, again, if you sit there and just like, TCG players attract a lot of people that like want to feel smart because like, if you're playing a TCG, you can honestly never accept responsibility for any of your losses. There's always someone was luckier, I was unluckier, I hit the wrong side of variance. Like, there's always something to blame other than yourself. And like, while it's true there are going to be a non-zero amount of games where you just lose because you couldn't do anything, those games are fewer and far between in TCGs than a lot of newer and inexperienced players make them out to be. You're not getting a treat. And shrieking is not going to get you a treat. Shrieking is not going to get you a treat, little monster. While we're waiting for the cue to pop, I would just like to say good morning, afternoon, and good night to everyone, wherever you are in the world. Thanks for choosing to spend part of your day here with us. My name is Jeff Hoagland. I'm a TCG player and content producer, and hope you're enjoying yourself. We're playing some vintage this morning. If you're enjoying what you see, please hit that follow button. It doesn't cost you anything. It helps other people find my stuff. If you're really enjoying what you see and you want to help me produce more of this content, there's a couple different ways you can do that. The first is by subscribing on Twitch. It is September, so all new subs are half off this month. You can also support my content by supporting my sponsors. MTGOtraders.com would love to buy and sell Magic Online cards with you. And if you use code Hoagland PayPal at checkout there, you'll save 8% on your singles orders. Let's put the Declan monster up here while we finish the spiel. Cool Stuff Inc.com buys and sells a lot of cool stuff, including TCG singles. Using code Jeff5, you can save 5% on Magic, Yu-Gi-Oh, and Pokemon cards with them. Look how cute he is. InkGaming.com can help you customize your gaming experience. Did they help you customize your experience, Declan? Using code Jeff12, you can save 12% on custom sleeves, playmats, and mouse pads with InkGaming.com. You can upload your own custom artwork or select from their wide selection of artist work they already have on their website. And finally, SpareDeck.com, they offer kind of a unique service. They won't be able to rent you a vintage deck, unfortunately, but you can rent any standard or modern cards from SpareDeck.com. If you're someone that plays a lot of Magic competitively and you change decks a lot, it's a very convenient service rather than dealing with buy and sell lists to just rent your deck every week. Or if you're someone like me that mostly plays online and you want to play a paper event occasionally, it's convenient to just rent instead of trying to track down borrowing and stuff like that. I have not started brewing with the excellent stuff yet. Not anything major, at least. Like, there's a couple of small things. Like, I want to try Blue-Red Breach in Modern with Opt. What else do I want to try? I want to try some of the treasure enchantments that turn into lands in Modern decks, perhaps. The blue one might be okay in a control-style shell. But nothing major for Standard yet. I actually need to sit down and finish my article today for Friday on Gathering Magic. Is going to be, my article on Gathering Magic this week that goes up on Friday will be talking about the cards I like out of the set and the different constructed formats. I'm actually a little disappointed. Like, I did a first pass in the set, and I don't actually think, and I guess I shouldn't have assumed that we were gonna get a Delver of Secrets S card, but like the pirate evasive threats for like 1, 2, and even 3 mana are really pretty terrible in this set. So like, I was kind of excited when we got like Spell Pierce and Opt that like maybe a tempo deck was gonna see play this season in Standard, and I think the closest thing we're gonna have to a tempo deck is just like a Teamer Energy style like aggro mid-range deck that's not really a tempo deck. What about winning with the treasure enchantment? I am not Saffron Olive. I am looking to build competitive decks, so I'm sure Saffron Olive will have something trying to win with the treasure enchantment. If that's something you enjoy, more power to you. I don't put onus on doing cute things over like just playing good cards. Oh vintage, please with the Q times. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. And let me just clarify, because people are posting lulls and Rex in chat, like, Saffron Olive is a great person and he's an asset to the Magic community. I have nothing personal against him, but like that's something he does, right? Like he does cute decks with specific ideas, and his goal isn't to build something good. Like if whatever he builds is good, like that's just an upside to it. But like I don't go into deck building with like I'm gonna put this artificial restraint on myself so my deck can be cute. Like when I sit down and I build a deck, I'm like, all right, how can I win the most matches of Magic? No idea. And those are the types of questions you're gonna have to ask yourself. What cards? I don't even know what the discard payoff enchantment is. Offhand, I couldn't tell you. Am I planning to stream more Epic in the future? Yeah, probably at some point. General GYP. I don't know if I'm going to be able to fit like a regular Epic stream into the schedule. I might work on fitting a regular Epic stream into the schedule once the application matures a little bit, but the application's definitely got enough rough spots that like I don't think it's mature enough to like do a regular stream with. I play games on and off on my cell phone mostly because it's convenient, but and it depends on like the context and speed of the format too, right? Like you need to look at like what important cards are. Alright, so what colors are bad? This is a rainbow land, and this is green, black. So I can cast this Pride Mage, I could test this Containment Priest, this thing's probably fine. Yeah, a couple of the card bugs are really annoying. Like, honestly, if the card bugs weren't there, like, the rest of it would probably be fine. Path to Exile. Alright, is this the same person? Oh, different person. Alright, so... Do I just want to Stone Rain them on one? I feel like I just want to Stone Rain this. My gut says I want to Stone Rain them. Oh, City of Brass. I can also, like, recall here on one, but then, like, there's no guarantee I could use this mana this turn, so I think I just want to be resource efficient here. Yeah, paid 3 mana, blew up a land. And, like, a lot of these vintage decks, like, play few enough lands that, like, these mocks basically count as land slots in their deck. So, like, a lot of times you can get them when they're greedy. Trinket Mage. Sweet. Probably Time Vault combo in their deck. It's actually a little annoying because our Scribe Clan Berserker needs to connect to get renowned. Yeah, definitely Steve Flagrocks. And I was just saying that for clarification because, like, if I didn't put that clarification on there, somebody out there somewhere is going to watch this YouTube video and then, like, try and crucify me. Because I've been on the internet before and I understand how people's minds work. People are assholes and they're looking to get people. Just wanted to say it in a way that could in no way imply anything, you know, negative or otherwise. So they get to blow up these two. And again, little unfortunate. The Gemstone Mine is actually a good draw here. If they didn't have a creature, because then I could just jam the Scald Pump Berserker and hit them. Children, there are 6 blankets over there. You can each have one. I promise. I promise neither of you needs all the blankets. Alright, so now we've got stuff to do. So this is... We got 6 mana altogether here. Someone will probably get mad anyways. I agree with that assessment. Somebody will probably get mad anyways. So now I could path this Scab Clan Berserker, Dark Confidant. Yeah, I kind of like that, right? Let's make sure this resolves. I guess I should make sure this resolves first, actually, right? Because if this doesn't resolve, then yeah, we could get. Well, I guess if they had a misstep, they'd have misstepped the recall, right? What are we doing after this league? It depends on how long this league takes. If we're gonna be honest. This says whenever an opponent casts a non-creature spell, they take 2. Sounds great. It's more than good. It's great. And it's a 3/3 now, so like, you know, bring the Scab Clan pain. We are an aggro deck. Aggro deck. Grr, arg, grr, arg. Don't want to give my opponent health. Do not want. You're pathing, you're gonna be exiling things like, yeah, right? Like, and that's like, people are just so used to like not like using their brain when they talk about things in the context of cards. They just like snap off like, you gotta go with the default. It's like the Tron versus Cloud Post, really, right? Like, people are like, oh, Cloud Post has to be better, it's banned in Modern. It's like, well, no, that assumes that the Modern ban list makes sense. God, this card is so ugly. Like, what a fucking tilt. What up? Fucking tilt. I guess I have Campbell here to play, but like, this is kind of a tilt. I'm gonna lose both my dorks to these. I like how the user interface designers on Magic Online are so bad at their jobs. Like, the prompt I just got offered for that balance was sacrifice all creatures, click done. Why even make me click done? Why even make me click done? All right, they're at 14 here. We'll see. They need to hit their mentor pretty quickly. That was the other reason that other player in that game we lost before this was playing kind of a similar fair-ish deck that my opponent's playing. They hit their monastery mentors very early both games. And like they only have one of those, so like hitting the mentor early is not terribly likely. What do we got here? Is the Jace? Engineered explosives, XS3. Sure. Sure. Yeah, I guess I knew that was coming, right? They can crack this mana vault, but they're technically going to get burned out from that, I guess. Unplayed Containment Priest at end step. Flash this in. Don't you take my wallet and run away, tiny child. That is not for you. Kids. Kids. Kids these days. And their wallet stealing ways. You cannot have my wallet. Cannot have my wallet. Sorry. I know. Sad Declan. Sad Declan. Declan's so sad. He's so sad. He's so sad. Sad, sad Declan. Do not push the buttons on my inline controls. Thank you. Thanks, Vind. I appreciate you stopping by. And good on you. Don't type on your cell phone while driving. Listening to something like Twitch is fine. You are very loud. You are very loud. We're just gonna hold this mana confluence. This deck feels like it has too much mana in it. God bless compressors, right? Okay, opponent takes a point. Library of Alexandria, not terribly good. He likes the noise that it makes when he... This is my youngest. This is Declan. Declan is 2.5. It's like 2. Hi, 2 1/3. Yeah, you saying hi to the internet? Hi, internet. Did they hit a force? Are we thinking about forcing this? We are forcing this. Okay. Force pitching cruise. Man, we really want this mana vault, huh? Or maybe they just like don't have anything going on. Man, this containment priest, it's going the distance. It's going for speed. Alright, it's no longer going the distance. Playing, so this deck seems really sweet. But playing through this league right now has like, I feel like I felt on Sunday when I registered a non-blue deck in the Legacy Challenge. If you're gonna play Legacy or Vintage, you should probably put a bunch of islands in your deck. Let's just be honest here, right? You should probably just put a bunch of islands in your deck. Alright. Technically no islands in this deck. Alright, so let's do this. Let's do this. No, Tron's pretty consistent. Actually, I played an Eldrazi Stompy deck, and it was miserably inconsistent. It was not good. I guess Kataki War's Wage kinda shuts off their artifact mana. Do I want Kataki? I haven't played Dredge yet. But I mean to. The Workshops deck seems kind of mediocre with all the lock pieces that they've banned lately. Like, we 3-2'd the league we played it in, so, like, it's probably fine, but, like, compared to playing, like, the busted blue decks, it did not seem particularly impressive. I'm gonna cut one path. They draw their mentor, they draw their mentor. I played the Eldrazi Stompy thing because I had intended to stream with it, and then after the challenge, I just like, nope, never playing this deck again. One of my buddies has done well with it in a couple of the local events. Nerd Rage Gaming up in Chicago does 1Ks every month, so their 1K last month, they did, he finished second, and he'd won one of the ones earlier this year with the deck. Make shops great again. You can watch whatever you want on the TV after Jacob goes to school. He's going to go to school really soon, okay? Ooh. Unrestrict Lodestone Golem and Sphere, right? Oh. Man. The deck has a lot of mana sources in it. It's actually more than that, right? Because, like, I just boarded in Wastelands, and, like, I've got these Noble Hierarchs who are basically mana sources. Again, I am mostly playing a deck list card for card that did well at a Vintage event. And honestly, the few cards I changed are seeming like they were bad. I cut a bunch of random Monastery Mentor cards they had because I assumed that, like, with Monastery Mentor being restricted, we'd run into it less. But, like, we've lost every game so far in this league to Monastery Mentor. So, like, I probably just should have, like, left the deck loaded, played it 75 cards for 75 cards. That's usually what I do. But, like, again, the format changed a little bit. So I thought it would be okay. But turns out I'm a big dumb stupid. Sounds great. We get to go Caracas, Mox, Thalia. I mean, paradoxical outcome is, it's not even an opinion, right? Like, I think a paradoxical outcome is objectively just, like, very, very good. All of the combo decks we've been poking around with play paradoxical outcome. You know, again, like, this is why you should play blue cards at Vintage. You get to, like, force their relevant card, recall, draw a bunch of stuff. I'm gonna cast this first because they might let it resolve if they have a force, if they don't know their Tolarian Academy is dying. They have 4 mana still, but, like, we have Null Rods and Stony Silences. That's a tilt. We basically just can't win this game now, right? Like, they played a Caracas and we're dead. And just haven't drawn a spell. And how many... I mean, I guess I'll keep playing, but, like, we effectively just can't win this game. It's so sad. I thought this deck could be sweet. They have a Sylvan Library. We're pretty dead here. We just, like, don't have anything else to do. Like, even our best draws, like Campbell, aren't gonna do anything. Yeah, we're just like, when's our next actual piece of action? I guess, like, 3 turns from now, we might get to play this and have something relevant happen. Yeah, I don't think you should ever play, like, again, like, Vintage, and that's not a slight at Vintage and Legacy, right? Like, Vintage and Legacy generate a lot of really interesting games of Magic, and I genuinely enjoy playing the blue decks in this format. Like, they're interesting. They have a lot of sequencing decisions. They've got a lot of back and forth play to them, but, like, you are definitely putting yourself at an almost certain strict disadvantage by not playing the powerful blue cards, especially with paradoxical outcome being legal right now. Yeah, like, we don't have any pressure, so, like, my opponent's playing a combo deck was likely just gonna recall with their library the following turn, just, like, let's move on with our lives into the next one. Only have to lose 1 more match with this before we're done playing it for maybe we'll scrape out a 3-2. And we've played a couple outcome decks. I don't think the Belcher deck we played the other night is actually terribly good. Maybe there's some iteration of Belcher that's good, but this isn't it. I should play this blue-red Delver deck some more at some point. Maybe we'll do that on Thursday. This blue-red Delver deck. Oh, Magic Online. Let's cut to the sponsors tab while we reload Magic Online. I get it, dude. You're excited. Kapow! I like how the children screaming lined up perfectly with Magic Online crashing. It's basically, they're channeling my inner feelings towards Magic Online right now. Ugh. There's nothing to let you know just how out of shape you are than, like, starting to go back to a gym. You're like, oh, those muscles hurt because they haven't been used in 2 years. I think this deck I'm playing could use some brainstorm and some preordains and some force of wills and probably cut a lot of the crappy humans and these cavern of souls, these ancient ziggurats. I don't think I'd play even if we 3-2 this league. I don't think I'd play this deck again. This deck feels a lot like the Eldrazi Stompy deck that I played on Sunday. Like, we're drawing kind of miserably, but like, that's what these decks do, right? Like, the decks in Vintage and Legacy where, like, you're not drawing miserably in part of your games, or, like, they play Preordains, and they play Brainstorms, and they play Ponders. So, like, they have all of these cards that add consistency so they don't draw miserably in a lot of their games. Like, we're basically playing a deck that has, like, less card selection in it than, like, decks in Standard are gonna have when they get to play Op Tier soon. So, like, again, like, you should expect to run poorly in a higher portion of your games with a deck like this than in a deck that has, like, powerful cantrips in it. That's why decks like this are much, much higher variance than the more consistent decks of the format. Plus, like, we don't just get to draw a bunch of cards with this deck. It's kind of lame. Let's pull up the blue-red Delver deck that I was talking about a second ago. Just blue-red Delver. We 4-1 and 3-2 to league with this deck. This deck seems sweet. It's a Null Rod Young Pyromancer deck. It has some Yu-Gi-Oh cards in it. Hopefully when we get cards we can replace those. But yeah, I like this deck a lot. Get to play Force. Nope. I am for your edutainment, REQQ. I do not intend to play Paper Vintage probably ever. Even, like, I could probably find power to borrow, but honestly, I don't really want to be responsible for borrowing someone's power. Like, if someone, like, steals my Magic deck, or I lose it, or, like, the cards get damaged, like, I'd be afraid to shuffle it, like... And, like, how messed up is that, right? Like, there's this game with all these sweet formats, and I wouldn't want to actually play it in paper because I'd be afraid to damage the cards and owe someone a lot of money. Like this row of 6 cards here would, like, pay my mortgage for an entire year. No. No, to buy this deck in paper is, like, $20,000. And probably fix. I haven't played Blue Red Delver in Legacy. Do 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 do. Heidi ho the cherry-o. Do 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 do. And like, so like we say Vintage is more affordable online, and like it certainly is more affordable online, right? Like like $800 versus $20,000 is like a big difference. Like, you know, 1/20th the cost or less. But like, honestly, why should this deck cost $800 on Magic Online? Like it's funny that they like added these Vintage leagues, but like they haven't at the same time added support to make the format like reasonably obtainable for people. Like, expecting people to shell out $800 for like digital decks is like really unreasonable. If they would just like print more of these staples so they were readily available, like even like $200 is like, that's like not completely unreasonable. Every time someone argues in favor of the reserve list, a puppy dies. I agree. The reserve list is miserable. The only thing more miserable than the reserve list are the bitter old men who defend it. It doesn't have to be free. I get it. There's a secondary market. Wizards is a for-profit company, but like they could make money selling packs. You know what I'm saying? They make money. This league cost me $12. If we don't win the next 3 matches, it cost me $12 to play these matches. Like, they're gonna get money out of me. Just let me buy the cards so I could vomit money into your events. I want to give you money. So actually this is a good talking point while we're waiting for the vintage queue here. There are 110% legal ways around the reserve list. In fact, if they had good lawyers or they wanted to spend time on it, they could probably realistically just straight up reprint the cards reserve list. The fact is that they don't want to remove the reserve list. And like, if you want living proof that they want Legacy and Vintage to be expensive and largely unattainable, look at Magic Online. Magic Online is a format where the reserve list doesn't exist. And these decks are still astronomically expensive compared to playing standard on Magic Online. There is no reason these vintage decks have to cost more than standard decks on Magic Online, where they could print these cards as much as they want. There's actual zero reason other than WotC wants artificial scarcity to exist online, so that way people are more incentivized to play formats like standard because it's more cost effective to do so. Whoa, 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 pimped up monk. I know someone that doesn't have any degrees or studying background in economics that does MTG finance that told me that that is not true. In fact, that printing Black Lotuses for $20 would destroy Magic as we know it. And they sounded pretty certain, so I'm pretty sure you're wrong. Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy. MTG finance. Whenever you read anything that someone's posting with hashtag MTG finance, you need to realize that the people doing MTG finance are doing Magic finance instead of actual finance because they couldn't make money doing actual finance. Holy crap, that's the biggest thing, right? Like, so they talked about like Magic Arena, like maybe having modern. Like, honestly, do you want to build 3 modern decks on Magic Arena if it costs you like $600 to $800? Like, even if it's $200 per deck, are you going to want to put $200 per deck into Magic Arena if it can never come back out? Because like, at least if I buy this $800 deck on Magic Online, I can cash it back out for like $600 like that, probably $700 if I work a little bit. But, you know, I'm lazy, so like. We just printed high quality proxies that made our own vintage cubes to draft and recolor. I'm over. Yeah, exactly. Right? Like, I'm just over it. I don't know who Rudy is. Oh, vintage, please with the Q times. I just want to lose one more match now with my bad deck. In fact, this deck is terrible enough. I'm going to do this to Belcher too. We're just going to right-click. I'm going to right-click delete this one. Oh no! Magic Online, stop locking up. I just want to right-click and delete. Thank you. Thank you. All of these decks we might play again. Yeah, honestly, at some point, I agree. So the comment about Chinese fakes here, at some point, if Wizards doesn't address the reserve list issue, like, these older cards are worth so much money that, like, it's more profitable for them to print. Oh, yep. Nice. Ex-stockbroker. I mean, if he was making money as a stockbroker, do you think he'd be dealing with Magic cards and Pokemon cards? I can't keep this hand, right? Turn 1, Scab Clan Berserker. I'm gonna keep it. Good. We got a Black Lotus and a Scab Clan Berserker. Let's go! Let's go! Oh, jeez. All I'm going to say is there's actual evidence of reprinting cards and those cards still being expensive. That's just like, we're gonna be actually be data driven here instead of just screaming like a bunch of monkeys banging on keyboards, like pounding our fists against our chest, asserting our dominance without actually pointing to any data. Like, we're humans, we have brains in our heads, hopefully. Some of us have brains in our heads, and like, you could look at it and see like, hey, look, they reprinted this card, and the other. How many times did they reprinted fucking Tarmogoyf, right? Tarmogoyf is still like a $90 card. Tarmogoyf doesn't even see play anymore. Oh, lordy. Oh, lordy. This is not going to be pretty for us. Oh, no! They're gonna play like a turn 1 Wormcoil and be like, nice human, idiot. I guess I could draw Path to Exile. I have 3 Path to Exiles in my deck. Alright, we tried, fam. We gave it the college best here. Okay, so Tarmogoyf was a bad example. What I want you to look at is, look at the price history of Tarmogoyf in relation to when it got reprinted. Tarmogoyf's recent downplay in value is because Tarmogoyf isn't playable in Modern anymore. The reason why Tarmogoyf stopped being worth money, Tarmogoyf used to be in the best fair deck in Modern, and now the best fair deck in Modern gets to play 1 mana 9/9s instead of 2 mana 5/6s. So Tarmogoyf's recent price, and like the fact that Tarmogoyf is even still $60 while seeing virtually no play is a testament to like how much value these cards could retain even while being reprinted a significant amount. All right, now we're done. All right. Probably a Wasteland matchup. It's probably a Stony Silence Null Rod matchup. All right, what am I cutting here? These Thalia Guardian of Thraben seem bad. I don't want to make my spells cost more, I don't think. How does this format even work? I wish I could tell you how this format worked, Dwight, but this... oh, I have Serenities in my board. These kill artifacts too, right? Yeah, those are supposed to be in my deck. 3 Serenities over here. No, these are not. I don't... This is not a Null Rod. So, this sounds weird, but Null Rod Stony Silence actually isn't great against the artifact deck. It's like medium minus at best. Containment Priest doesn't really do much too. Maybe this is worth it. I don't actually know. This card actually is just kind of medium. The Shops deck actually plays Null Rod in their board. But I think it's better than Containment Priest. Yeah, fine against Walking Ballista. Yeah, that makes sense. It's like not stellar. This card is in your deck because it turns off boxes against other decks. Like, this card's good against Storm, is why it's in your board. It's basically what it comes down to. It's good against the Storm decks of the format. This deck is not a good example of what you could be doing in Vintage because this deck is terrible and no one should ever play this deck. You should put a bunch of islands in your deck and cast sweet spells like Paradoxical Outcome and Brainstorm and Force of Will. I mean, if this isn't a keep... Yeah, I said versus the Storm decks. The Paradoxical Outcome decks are essentially Storm decks. Please be a box. Please be a box. Please be a box. Please be a box. Whoops, Modern hate bears the deck, right? As God bless America, my country, 'tis of thee. Sweet land of liberty, of the I sing. Bum, 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 bum. And remember, this deck is playing, I can't even pull it up because we deleted the deck to show you how many mana sources this deck is playing. This deck is playing like 30 mana sources. But there's no blue cards in our deck. And when there's no blue cards in your deck, you're just gonna die. You're gonna have games where you flood, and you're gonna have games where you screw. And that's on me, because I chose to register this pile of cards. I chose to do it. It's my fault. Oh, baby. Oh, baby. City of Brass. We're dead, right? It's like 0% to come back here. The good news is that it only cost me $12 to lose those 7 games. To be fair, we also didn't catch the leagues with Belcher. We wasted $24 on... We wasted $24 on Sunday night playing Belcher. Magic Online is not cheap. That was not even a donation deck list. It actually did well at events, and I thought maybe I was going to play it. At least that's true. The Belcher deck was dynamic, interesting games of Magic. All right, I'm actually gonna just call it a day on Magic. I'm burnt on